There's a particular kind of discomfort that arrives every year around the same time. It doesn't come from the cold or the noise or even the expectations. It comes from the pressure to feel something you don't. As the year draws to a close, the world seems to collectively agree that this moment is supposed to be meaningful, celebratory, hopeful. And if you don't feel that way, something feels wrong. Not with the holiday, but with you. Many people quietly despise New Year celebrations, but rarely talk about it openly. They show up, they smile, they participate just enough to not stand out. But internally, there's resistance, a heaviness. Sometimes irritation, sometimes sadness, sometimes numbness, and often confusion about why this moment feels so uncomfortable when it's supposed to mark a fresh start. Psychologically, New Year's celebrations are not just about time. They're about evaluation. They force reflection whether you're ready for it or not. As calendars flip and countdowns begin, the mind automatically reviews the past 12 months. What happened? What didn't? What changed? What stayed the same? And for many people, that review doesn't feel celebratory at all. When life hasn't moved the way you hoped, the new year doesn't feel like a beginning. It feels like a reminder of promises you made and didn't keep, goals you set and abandoned, versions of yourself you imagined becoming but didn't. The celebration amplifies that gap between expectation and reality. And instead of feeling motivated, you feel exposed. This is why some people experience New Year's as emotionally invasive. It's not optional reflection. It's forced. Everywhere you look, there are messages about growth, transformation, success, reinvention. New year, new you. This is your year. These phrases are meant to inspire, but psychologically, they can feel accusatory, as if not changing fast enough is a personal failure. Another layer is comparison. Social media turns New Year into a highlight reel of other people's lives. Trips, parties, relationships, achievements, optimism. Even if you know these moments are curated, your nervous system doesn't fully register that distinction. It simply sees evidence that others are celebrating, moving forward, and feeling hopeful. And if you're not, the contrast can feel isolating. People who despise New Year celebrations are often not anti-joy. They're overwhelmed by symbolic pressure. The new year becomes a symbolic checkpoint, a deadline that wasn't consciously chosen, but feels binding anyway. It quietly asks, what have you done with your life? And if your answer is complicated, unfinished, or painful, the question hurts. There's also the issue of unresolved grief. For some, the past year holds loss. Loss of people, relationships, health, identity, or time. Celebrating the end of that year can feel wrong, even disrespectful to what was endured. The idea of cheering feels disconnected from the emotional reality still being processed. So instead of excitement, there's resistance. Psychologically, time markers intensify emotion. Birthdays, anniversaries, and New Year's don't create feelings. They amplify existing ones. If you're already feeling behind, uncertain, or exhausted, the new year magnifies it. And when society expects joy at the same time, the disconnect becomes more noticeable. Many people who dislike New Year celebrations are also deeply introspective. They think in layers, not slogans. They don't easily reduce life to before and after moments. For them, change is gradual, messy, non-linear. So the idea that one night separates an old life from a new one feels artificial, almost insulting to the complexity of real growth. There's often guilt attached to this dislike. I should be grateful. I should be hopeful. Other people have it worse. These thoughts attempt to override genuine emotion with moral obligation. But emotions don't respond to logic. They respond to experience. And when experience doesn't align with celebration, forcing positivity creates inner tension rather than relief. Another overlooked factor is emotional fatigue. By the time the year ends, many people are depleted. They've spent months adapting, coping, pushing through. The new year arrives not as a fresh chapter, but as another demand, another thing to perform, another expectation to meet. Celebration requires energy, and when energy is low, even joy feels like work. For people who spent the year surviving rather than thriving, the new year can feel premature, like being asked to celebrate a marathon you haven't recovered from yet. The body and mind are still processing what happened, but the calendar insists it's time to move on. This mismatch creates resentment, not toward the holiday itself, but toward the pressure it carries. There's also the psychological issue of identity. The new year often asks people to define themselves by progress. Who are you becoming? What are you building? Where are you going? But if your identity is still forming, still healing, still questioning, these questions feel destabilizing rather than motivating. You may not want a new version of yourself yet. You may want integration, not reinvention. Some people associate New Year celebrations with loneliness. When the cultural script emphasizes togetherness, parties, and connection, those who feel socially disconnected feel it more intensely. Being alone on an ordinary day is one thing. Being alone on a day that's supposed to be shared feels different. It highlights absence instead of choice. Others associate New Year with performative happiness. Psychologically, authenticity matters. When people feel pressured to feel something they don't, they withdraw, they disengage, they resist. This resistance is not negativity. It's a boundary, a refusal to pretend. And for some, despising New Year celebrations is less about rejecting joy and more about protecting emotional honesty. There's also fear hidden underneath. The New Year symbolizes time moving forward, whether you're ready or not. Another year older, another year gone. And celebrating that passage feels contradictory to the fear it evokes. Interestingly, many people who dislike New Year celebrations still crave meaning. They want reflection. They want clarity. They just don't want it packaged as obligation. They prefer private reckoning to public countdowns, quiet assessment to loud resolution lists. Their rejection is often about format, not intention. Rituals are meant to regulate emotion, but when they're mismatched, they dysregulate instead. For someone in transition, grief, or uncertainty, the New Year ritual can feel misaligned. This doesn't mean there's something wrong with you if you despise New Year celebrations. It may mean you're more honest with yourself than the ritual allows. You're aware that growth doesn't happen on command, that healing doesn't follow calendars. That change is quieter and slower than fireworks suggest. Some people eventually find peace by redefining the new year, not as a restart, but as a continuation. Not as a demand, but as a marker. A point of acknowledgement rather than expectation. When the pressure to transform is removed, the resistance often softens. Others choose to disengage entirely, to treat it like any other day. This isn't avoidance. It's self-regulation. Choosing not to participate in something that feels emotionally misaligned is not bitterness. It's discernment. At its core, despising New Year celebrations often reflects a deeper truth. You're not disconnected from life.